These agreements require employees of the Government of Canada that access these documents to sign confidentiality agreements. And why is that? Why is there much more redactions, as my colleague said, in these documents than in other documents? It's because these documents were signed at the beginning of the pandemic, when everybody was desperate for vaccines, when companies were being told to rush vaccine production, do testing in an unprecedented way, in a way they normally don't do it. So these companies were exposed to way higher liability, putting their products on the market than they normally would, because they didn't do the type of testing that normally takes these drugs years to come to market. They did it all in less than a year. So that's why these companies said, if I'm going to deliver you this product that I haven't tested in my normal way, I want to have different conditions. And with companies, all countries around the world competing with each other to get these, the countries had less leverage than they normally do. For example, if we were entering into flu vaccine contracts or monkeypox contracts or other things that were normally available, this would be a different issue. But these are already signed. They were signed at a time the government didn't have that leverage in negotiations. We just wanted to sign as many vaccine contracts with as many producers as possible because Canadians were desperate for vaccines. And in the end, it worked out. We got vaccines, and we were one of the countries that got to vaccinate everybody the fastest.
Do you know how hard it is for me to not interrupt that steaming pile of verbal diarrhea that we just watched? And also, it's not by accident that I didn't maximize the screen. I could have maximized it, but I did want everyone to see my, how do I escape? To see my tweet. Because yes, people, I've started swearing, and I was thinking about this the other day. I don't think that I've changed. I'm an idiot. I don't think that I've changed. I think I've stayed pretty much the same. And for anybody who thinks, oh, Viva, you've totally changed. Once upon a time, you were clean cut and you had the skin fade and you were a lawyer. And you guys didn't know what I was like in high school. You guys didn't see what I looked like when I was playing squash and I had hair down to my shoulders and it was streak blonde. And they say, the more things change, the more they stay the same. I've always had the urge to tell people to go fuck themselves when they act like a bunch of raging jackasses. But I look, for a while, I said that politeness will win. For a while, I didn't even want to touch politics. Don't talk politics. And politeness will win. Well, I'm done with that. I haven't changed. I've just now removed the filter that had been keeping me back from telling someone they're acting like a jackass when they're acting like a jackass. Now, it's a two-way street. I expect people to tell me that I'm acting like a jackass if they think I'm acting like a jackass. Never let this video disappear, people. These were the motherfuckers telling us to follow the science. And you have to, I've played this video at least 5 times. I've tweeted this video out at least 5 times. You know what's amazing is it gets progressively harder and harder to find this video whenever I Google it. Now I'm going to interrupt it for a bit. I've done this before, but I'm going to do it again one more time just to highlight what the hell Anthony Housefather, Minister of Procurement in Canada, admitted to when he offered a much more honest answer than he should have. Get the volume up.
These agreements require employees of the Government of Canada that access these documents to sign confidentiality agreements.
Confidentiality agreements.
And why is that?
Why is that? Tell me.
Why is there much more redactions, as my colleague said, in these documents than in other documents?
Because we don't want you knowing how badly we screwed you. My goodness, sunlight is the greatest disinfectant. Why would there be more redactions than usual? Because we don't want you to see what we've done to you.
It's because these documents were signed at the beginning of the pandemic.
Rush.
When everybody was desperate for vaccines.
Desperation.
When companies were being told to rush vaccine production.
Rush production.
Testing
Rush production, by the way. It's a very important distinction. There were a number of recalls because there was very little, if any, oversight of production. Rushing production is a little bit different than rushing development, which he gets to right now.
When companies were being told to rush vaccine production. Do testing in an unprecedented way, in a way they normally don't do it.
Call that what you want.
Companies were exposed to way higher liability, putting their products on the market than they normally would.
More liability for rushing production, rushing development. So what did they want? Immunity.
Because they didn't do the type of testing that normally takes these drugs years to come to market. They did it all in less than a year.
It's a magic how they made like 7 to 10 years trials. Just boom, 1 year. And I'm the conspiracy theorist anti-vaxxer who took 2 of these things.
So that's why these companies said, if I'm going to deliver you this product that I haven't tested in my normal way, I want to have different
immunity.
conditions.
It's called immunity. And why did we buckle? And why did we bend the knee, bend over backwards to give you immunity? Because we had whipped up the public into a total frenzy. They just wanted something. Just hook it to my veins, to quote Gumble.
And with all countries around the world competing with each other to get these, the countries had less leverage than they normally do. For example, if we were entering into flu,
so we didn't have leverage to negotiate well.
Contracts or other things that were normally available.
Yeah, already tested.
This would be a different issue.
Yeah.
But these are already signed. They were signed at a time the government didn't have that leverage.
We got exploited, but
we just wanted to sign as many vaccine contracts
sign
with
as many
producers as possible.
Yeah, as many
Canadians were desperate for vaccines.
Desperate.
And in the end, it worked out. We got
Yeah.
vaccines.
Yeah, you got
We were one of
something.
the countries that got to vaccinate everybody the fastest.
Garbage in, garbage out. People, I wasn't going to do a show today. This feels like it's going to turn into a show because I'm looking at our man of the hour. The amazing thing is there are going to be so many of you out there who have no idea who this person is because he's not someone that might be known on the aggregate interwebs, but he's certainly known within our locals community. This is a tradition we have, and I'm bringing it back, but I'm bringing it back with a bit of a tweak because the old system was good, but it got too complicated to make it fluid. In our locals community, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Viva Fry, David Freiheit, former Montreal litigator turned current Florida rumbler. We have an amazing vivabarneslaw.locals.com community. We've got, I think, 116,000 members. That's not 116,000 supporters, but we've got 116,000 community members. We've got an amazing community at vivabarneslaw.locals.com. There's a ton of content that is available for everybody. We have our supporters as well. And so one of the perks that we came up with at the community is what we call locals chats. We take someone who's a supporter who wants to submit themselves to the, what's the word? The proverbial digital colonoscopy that is appearing on the interwebs. It's out there forever. People can see everything about your life. And so we do these interviews periodically. And I was trying to do it like in a democratic, random way, say who wants to do it, and then I randomly select the number, then we orchestrate, organize, etc. It became very difficult to do the timing. And I said, screw it, just everyone get in a list and I'm going to pick you we're going to pick it this way because we've got an amazing community with people with stories to tell. Life experiences, I just spat, sorry about that. Life experiences to share with the world. And all of the locals conversations that we've done have been absolutely amazing and astonishing. From psychologists, I want to say forensic psychologists, to students who are studying music, to former veterans. Well, they're always veterans. It's been amazing. And Ginger Ninja was a gamer. We're going to see about that. Dude, I'm going to ask all my questions. So we're just going to do it this way. And Jeanette Victoria, I know you're watching. You might be next on the list. So the good list, not the bad list, not the Center for Countering Digital Hate list that I seem to have made myself onto. So those of you who are watching, you're going to have a discussion with a member of our vivabarneslaw.locals.com community. It won't be Taylor Swift, but everybody is singularly unique in their life experience and have stories and insights to share with the world. And I know I met Ginger Ninja when we were at the Tennessee meetup, and it's amazing. And he's amazing, and that's it. Okay, now, let me just make sure we're live everywhere here. So we're live on vivabarneslaw.locals.com. We're live on Rumble by the looks of it. Yep, we are. And where else? And we're live on YouTube.